I get asked this question more than almost any other question, whether it's from someone moving to Atlanta for the first time or someone who already lives here and is thinking about their next move. Should I buy in town or should I go out to the burbs? And here's what I'll tell you up front. This isn't really a real estate question. It's more of a lifestyle question that has the real estate consequences. Most people get stuck on this decision because they're trying to compare houses when what they really need to be comparing is lives. I'm Kristen Johnson, and I can tell you this from personal lived experience because I've lived on both sides of it. I grew up in East Point. I've lived out in the suburbs in Milton as an adult, and I currently live in Edgewood, right in the middle of Intown, Atlanta. So I've made this decision myself more than once, and I've walked hundreds of clients through it. Let me share the framework I actually use when going through this. What in town and suburbs actually mean in Atlanta. Before we get into anything else, we have to get clear on the terms because Atlanta's version of these words doesn't always match what people from other cities mean when they say them. When I say in town, I'm talking about neighborhoods inside the perimeter highway, which is 285. That includes places like Edgewood, Kirkwood, Eastlake, Old Fourth Ward, Inman Park, Grant Park, East Atlanta Village, Midtown, West Midtown, Morningside, Virginia Highland, Buckhead, and a handful of others. Each of these neighborhoods has its own character, its own walkability, and its own price dynamics, but they share that in-town identity. When I say suburbs, I'm talking about everything outside that perimeter, and that's a huge range. There are close-in suburbs like Smyrna, Decatur, East Point, and Mableton that are genuinely only 15 to 20 minutes from the city. And then there are further out suburbs like Alpharetta, Milton, Roswell, East Cobb, and parts of Gwinnett that are at least 30 to 45 minutes from the city on a good day. Here's what a lot of buyers miss when they're thinking about this. The word suburbs in Atlanta doesn't describe one thing. Smyrna and Milton are both technically suburbs, but they are completely different lifestyles. So are Decatur and Alpharetta. And when you lump them all together in your head, that's how you end up in the wrong neighborhood. So, the first thing I do with any clients having this conversation is break that word apart. The honest trade offs. Let me give you the real trade offs because a lot of what you'll read online won't. When you live in town, what you get is walkability, character, homes that are typically older and have some quirk or history to them, close access to restaurants, the Beltline, nightlife, and the airport, and a more urban, culturally rich feel. If you still go into an office in Midtown or Buckhead, your commute is going to be shorter. And in-town neighborhoods tend to feel alive in a way that comes from having a real mix of people, ages, and energy all moving through the space at the same time. Now, what you give up in town is square footage, yard size, and storage. Most of the housing stock is older, so while you'll find some new construction, you'll see a lot of older bungalows and historic homes. Parking can be a factor in some neighborhoods. And in certain in-town neighborhoods, you're paying a real premium for the walkability, which means your dollar per square foot is significantly higher than it would be outside of the perimeter. When you live in the suburbs, what you get is space, more house for your money, almost always. Newer construction is more available, sometimes bigger yards, driveways, and storage, quieter streets. And in certain pockets of Metro Atlanta, you have access to school systems that people move specifically to get into. What you give up in the suburbs is walkability in some cases. You're driving everywhere, restaurants, coffee shops, groceries, all of it is a car trip. And if you do need to get to the city on a regular basis, your commute becomes part of your daily life. Neither one of these things is better than the other. They are different lives. And the question is, which one is actually a good fit for you? So the 5 questions I ask every client, this is the framework I actually use. When a client comes to me stuck between in town and the suburbs, the first thing I do is not show them houses. I ask them these 5 questions. The first one is, what does your average Tuesday look like? Not Saturday, but Tuesdays. Because if on a Tuesday you want to be able to walk out of your door and grab coffee, hit a workout class, meet a friend for lunch, and end your day on a restaurant patio, you're probably leaning more towards in town. If on a Tuesday you want quiet, space to think, a home office with a door that closes, and a yard to let the dog out, you're probably leaning more towards the suburbs. The second question is, what's your actual commute situation? Not what you hope it'll be, but what is it really like? If you're going into Midtown or downtown more than twice a week, Alpharetta is going to eat your life. But if you're fully remote and only showing up for something quarterly, the commute argument basically disappears. The third question is, do you have kids or are you planning to? And in what time frame? Because if the answer is yes and soon, schools become one of the biggest factors in this decision, at least most times. Atlanta has multiple school systems and the quality varies from one place to the next. So that often pushes family towards a specific area. But if the answer is no kids, then honestly, the school conversation doesn't even belong in your decision. And I can't tell you how many childless buyers I see paying a premium for school districts they will never actually use. The fourth question is, what's your honest relationship with driving? Some people genuinely enjoy driving. It's their think time, their decompression. Suburbs work fine for that. Other people get visibly frustrated sitting in traffic. And if that's you, choosing Intown is going to protect your quality of life in a way bigger than a house ever could. The fifth question is the one that sounds soft, but it's actually the most important one. What kind of energy do you want when you walk out of your front door? Do you want quiet or do you want more life, more action? Do you want to see the same faces every day or do you want to feel anonymous in a crowd? Do you want a block party vibe or a long private driveway? There is no wrong answer to any of those, but there is a wrong answer for you. And if you get it wrong, it's going to wear on you every single day. What your money actually buys in each. Now, let's talk real numbers because this matters. If you're shopping under 400K, and in town, you're mostly looking at condos, townhomes, or smaller bungalows in neighborhoods like East Atlanta, West End, or older housing stock that may need updates. In the suburbs at that same price point, you may have more options. You can find single family homes in Mableton, parts of Smyrna, East Point, and further out in Douglasville or parts of Gwinnett. More square footage, often without needing to budget for renovation. Between 400K and 600K is where a lot of my clients land, and this is where the difference really starts to show up. In town at that range, you can get a solid bungalow or a renovated home in Kirkwood, Eastlake, or East Atlanta, a real single family home, maybe 1,500 to 2,000 square feet with a yard. In the suburbs with that same budget, you're getting noticeably more house, often 2,500 to 3,500 square feet, in places like Smyrna, Decatur, parts of Roswell, and parts of East Cobb. Between 600K and 900K, things open up on both sides. In town, you're looking at renovated larger homes, Morningside bungalows, homes in Emmett Park, old Fourth Ward townhomes, and new construction and midtown condos. In the suburbs, this is where North Fulton really opens up. Roswell, parts of Alpharetta, East Cobb, you'll often find 4 bedrooms updated, sometimes with acreage. And once you get to 900K and up, both markets are fully open. In town, you're looking at larger homes in Morningside, Ansley Park, and Buckhead. In the suburbs, you're in Milton, the top of Alpharetta, in East Cobb, or in luxury pockets of Gwinnett like Sugarloaf. The point of all of this isn't to tell you which market is cheaper. It's to show you that your dollar buys different things in each. In town, your dollar is buying character and location. In the suburbs, your dollar is buying square footage and usually a newer home. You have to decide which of these matters the most to you. A few neighborhoods most people don't even consider. I want to take a look and detour a little bit here because some of my best client placements happen in the in-between neighborhoods that don't fit neatly into the in-town or the suburb bucket. The first one is the city of Decatur. And I mean the city of Decatur specifically, not unincorporated DeKalb. It's technically not in town, but it's also not a standard suburb. It has its own walkable downtown, its own school system, and a real neighborhood feel. A lot of families who come to me thinking they need North Fulton end up landing in Decatur instead and never look back. The second is Smyrna, specifically the Market Village area. It's close to the city, it has a walkable core, and it's more affordable than in town. It's also genuinely growing. It's a smart pick for buyers who want proximity without paying in-town prices. The third is East Point, which is where I grew up. It's close to the airport, close to the city, and the housing stock is older, but there's real value here and real neighborhood energy. It's not for everyone, but it does belong in the conversation. The fourth is Eastlake and Kirkwood. They are technically in town, but they feel more like a quiet residential neighborhood than Midtown. It's a good fit for people who want the benefits of in town without that level of city energy that you'll get in the Midtown area. And the last one is Roswell. If you decide that you want to be in the burbs and you want character and identity, Roswell is where I'd send you first. Historic downtown, Canton Street, real personality, the whole nine. How to actually test your decision. Before you commit to an offer anywhere, I want you to do three things. The first is to spend a weekday in the neighborhood, not a weekend. Go grab coffee, walk around, sit in the park, see what the energy is on a random Tuesday at 2 p.m. A neighborhood can feel completely different on a Saturday than it does on a Tuesday. And you're not buying for Saturdays. You're buying for the other 5 days. The second is to drive your actual commute. Not at 10 a.m. when traffic is light, but at the time of day you'd really be driving. If you'd be commuting on Monday or Monday through Thursday, drive it Monday through Thursday because suburbs that look close on a map can feel unbearable at 8:15 in the morning on Georgia 400. The third is to talk to someone who has already made this decision. I connect clients with past buyers all the time because someone who has actually moved from Intown to suburbs or from suburbs to Intown is going to tell you the things that no agent or blog post will ever tell you. You don't want to discover a lifestyle mismatch 2 years into your mortgage. A 30-minute test on a Tuesday can save you from a 5-year regret. If you're trying to figure out where in Metro Atlanta actually fits your life, this is the exact conversation I have in a relocation consultation. Whether you're moving to Atlanta from somewhere else or you already live here and you're thinking about your next move, I'll link my Atlanta Relocation Insider's Guide in the description. It walks through neighborhoods, price points, commute realities, and what to expect from the buying process here. And if you want to talk specifics, your budget, your timeline, your must haves, you can book a consultation with me directly on my website. I'm Kristen Johnson with Kristen Johnson Real Estate. Subscribe for more honest Atlanta real estate content, and I'll see you in the next one.